We go back up to New York. She immediately goes back down to the floor. Starts working for Harvey Young Newman again on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. I go to work at Citigroup at 390 Greenwich Street, which is a less than quarter mile north
right there,
of the Trade Center.
Mm-hmm. So this is the first time I ever worked for my dad now. Like, I always worked for Prudential.
You've been around it, but never under him.
This was the first time I was working underneath him.
Right. And she was still on the New York Dome. He was still on the American. So here's the American Stock Exchange. Here's the New York Stock Exchange. Here's 390 Greenwich. Here's the two towers. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're down there, and I'm back into it. Tuesday morning breakfasts are still a go at Windows of the World.
Yeah, I still have to do that. I still did that. I was able to always do that.
I'm still going to them because I love seeing the guys. Mm-hmm. I love seeing Uncle Bob. Her Uncle Bob Toomey was the guy. So
he was married to my dad's younger sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I used to go to those a lot, and so Uncle Bob would have been a lifeline if you were doing
the dozen.
The dozen. Mm-hmm. He was just that guy.
Yeah. He was a professor at Georgia Tech for a while.
Yeah, he was
University,
awesome.
One of the two for a while.
Yeah. Just a wonderful person, and also grew up in Brooklyn. It's so incestuous.
Always. I mean,
Everyone from Brooklyn is good.
Fucking people live in Brooklyn, New York.
Exactly.
You know?
So Tuesday comes along. And this is
Monday. So the weekend
Monday.
before, he and I go to an Auburn Ole Miss game. We're down in Georgia, and we drive down to Auburn, and we have a great time. Mm-hmm. It's so much fun. Mm-hmm. And Monday comes, and I'm like moving around. I'm like, what is wrong with my jaw? I broke a tooth that weekend. So I'm like, oh my God, okay. So now I had missed an insurance meeting. I had to leave an insurance meeting early Thursday, which my dad was busting my balls about because just because I left early. So now on Monday, I call him around 3:30. I'm like, listen, I'm not going to make breakfast tomorrow. I got to go to the dentist tonight. I have to get a root canal or whatever. I'm like, so just so you know, because I always got there very early. Mm-hmm. I always ordered for the table. And there were 7 of us. There were 8 of us. I made 8. So I said, I'm not going to be there. You're going to have to either call in an order now or have Tommy get there early, but I'm not going to be there. So he was like, okay, well, yeah, this is September 10th. And he was like, that's great. Like, like that was like...
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
So I was like, oh, well, that didn't work out very well. But everything went great. So when I get home that night, I said to him, I'm like, I can actually drive you in the morning. I feel fine. Like, I thought that was going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Because I have like, whatever the phobia is for the dentist.
Yeah.
I felt fine. I'm like, he's like, well, you already told your dad no.
Take the day.
He'll get even angry if you show up because you told him you weren't showing up. So don't upset the apple, just... You know how he is, which is true, because if I showed up anyway, then would you bother calling me?
Yeah.
And it saved your life.
Yeah.
So I didn't drive him in. I took the train in, and that was a hell on its own. But when I got to the trading floor, I must have gotten off. I got off the N train and walked up Rector Street into the stock exchange, because by the time I used the laser and washed my hands because it's just filthy on those things. I turned my sink on to wash my hands. My water was black, and I mean black, like it was just filthy. But nobody else's was. So I look at Trish Murphy next to me. She's one of the specialists. I'm like, oh, look, someone's trying to tell me something. I said, I guess my day is going to be pretty bad.
Oh, fuck.
I go upstairs, and Tommy K from JP Morgan is like, did you see the fucking TV? So I said, no. I turn around, I'm looking at it, and then I just saw, like, as soon as I saw the needle, I was like, because I knew that was Windows.
The building, yeah.
So I beelined it over to my booth. I called up to Windows, and the line was just busy. So I started putting up my broker, the two of them, because I walked in at 8:40, 8:50. So I had missed, I didn't hear anything. Obviously my water went bad, but I kept calling up. So I'm putting up the beepers, and my clerk on the other side of the New York, he was in the main room also, but just on the other side. He's like, you have Tommy up? I'm like, I do. I'm like, have you seen him? He's like, yeah, he's up in the luncheon club. I'm like, perfect. Whew. Because whenever I went, we always left at like 8:30 because I was a clerk.
This was a time where they could have left breakfast. Like, that's the point that she's making.
Well, I was a clerk. I had to be on the floor by 8:45 always. He didn't allow me to be late. So if I went, everybody had to leave at 8:30 that way because the elevators took forever.
So they could have gotten out.
So I'm like, whew, if Tommy's upstairs in the luncheon club, everything is right in the world. So no problem. So now, time five more minutes goes by. I start putting up Tommy and Seti, and I'm putting them both up. Same clerk from the other side of the booth. Frankie calls over. He's like, you got Tommy up? I'm like, I do. Have you seen him yet? He's like, I told you. He's in the luncheon club. I'm like, So I'm like, oh, fuck this. I walk around. I go to the other side. I'm like, did you actually see him? Have you visually laid eyes on him? He's like, no, but he's up in the luncheon club. It's 8:55. Of course he's up there. I'm like, fucking no, it's Tuesday. Like, they're at breakfast. And like him and my other clerk, Patrick, they went pale. They were like, he's like, I have not seen him. So I went upstairs to the luncheon club. Shoes, jacket are still there. So I'm like, oh. So as I'm coming down, I guess that's when.
Make sure everyone knows. Like, so the Luncheon Club was this sexy ass place inside the New York Stock Exchange that had everybody. So because you would take off your suit jacket, put on your floor jacket, take off your wingtips, and put on orthopedic sneakers. So if you went up there and you walked by somebody's essential locker, the guy who did it, then they weren't in yet today.
Right. Oh yeah.
So
like
she went from saying
and...
from thinking that maybe the guys had made it down to going by there, and that's their time card, knowing that they would never work in their suits and in their shoes.
Right.
So that's a staggering thing to see right away.
The puzzle pieces are kind of coming
so
together.
I went back downstairs to my phone with it. I'm like, if you speak to them, like immediately. So I took Tommy's beeper. I said, if you hear them, call me and put me up immediately. So I go back to my booth and I called over to the Amex, and I got Maureen, my dad's another specialist that worked next to him, and she said, we spoke to them. We spoke to Mike Pascuma, one of the guys up there, and they were told just to wait. Just hang out until the smoke clears and then come down. So now everybody was like, okay, they're okay. But my dad didn't have a cell phone, so I wouldn't have been able to speak to him anyway. But Tommy wasn't answering his, and that was weird. And
at this point, are you guys understanding the magnitude of what's going on?
I definitely did. I definitely did.
I'm
I
a
knew
different
a plane
perspective because I got into work. I was a trader on the desk, so I got into work at 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
So when the first plane hit, I was well aware that it was a plane that had gone in and all that stuff. So I was distinctly aware that something had happened in between, like I said, in between her and I. And she was a little bit less aware. And
because you're talking about
because the second one hasn't hit yet.
Right.
Like now she's talking, the second one hasn't hit yet, correct?
But even when we all thought it was like an accident at first or something.
Well, it had been hit before.
It was still right.
It had been hit before, and we didn't.
So but that's what I mean. At that point, so other than the water is fucked up, you're not panicking forget about family and where everybody is, just from the holy shit.
I don't think anyone
happening.
thought that they were going to fall.
Right.
I didn't think anybody was dead. So right away I tried to call two of the guys I said earlier that worked for him or had gone up to Fred Alger. They were on the 92nd floor, and I kept trying to get John on the phone, and my tie lines were just down. So I thought that was weird. I was like, that's bizarre. So I'm like, all right, so all the power in the building is out. Okay, that makes sense. So
These
then
are
I'm just
direct wires. Direct wires can
never go down,
through both power outages, AT&T outages, or anything like that. Getting people their reports, taking reports, right? The stupid fucking term was the most important thing because it cost millions of dollars if reports didn't get through.
Right.
So those wires were calling the Pentagon to the fucking White House.
So I could call up Windows and get a busy signal, but I would never not get through to Alger. So then all of a sudden, I'm everyone starts looking around, and you can hear we heard this rumbling. It sounded like rumbling, and we couldn't figure out what it was because you were shaking first, and then all of a sudden it was just unmistakable. It was an engine. The second plane came in. I guess he missed the first try, and he came down. He came up Broad Street, so he came right over our head, and we heard it. We felt it. So when that happened, and everything just went black, all the power went out, for a couple of seconds, then we knew we were that's terrible. We at that point we knew it was unmistakable.
Yeah.
And then as soon as that happened, I knew that they didn't get out. We're fucked. I'm not leaving. Autopilot.
So the Citigroup wires worked. So she was able to go to Citigroup's booth and then call me.
Yeah, they were in my booth actually. So I turned around, I tie-lined him, and I'm like.
So we were able to talk
throughout
this whole thing, and so now we're trying to figure out. So they had evacuated my building, 390 Greenwich, and the last two people that they had to pull out of the place was me and the guy who ran my desk. And the guy who ran my, I was trying to figure out, widows and orphans type shit, and he was calling every customer. As soon as the market opens up, we'll be making aggressive two-way markets.
Well, that's what Dick Grasso was saying,
and
thank God he did, because he's like, listen, he's like, do not go outside. You go outside, you will not come back inside. We're shutting down the building because we are opening at 9:30. Like, he was adamant, and he's like, and I was like, well, I'm not leaving, because if my dad is like trying to evacuate somewhere and the bell rings at 9:30 and I'm not taking orders, I'm dead. Like, that wasn't an option.
You're still like thinking that way.
There's no way, like, from our vantage
like
point,
the scope of what's about to happen.
And yet, if I lost him money, if I was the only one there that could trade that, and I didn't like go out and execute an order for him, and he would lose money, he would have destroyed me.
Yeah. We had no idea, like, so there was a gaping hole in both towers, but we didn't realize, like, none of the emergency staircases.
And I never went out and looked.
You know, and I did. And then we had set up tentative plans that if the shit hit the fan, you know, so here's me, here's her again. Downtown Athletic Club was a place that was even south of her, so a little further away from and that was another place where we belonged. We all memberships at Downtown Athletic Club from her father. So I said, we'll go there and it'll be the meeting place. So then when I had left Citigroup to come down and walk to her, I walked to the West Side Highway, and then I had walked down when the first tower had fallen. So the first tower had fallen on me for all intents and purposes. The wind was blowing towards the west, which was the greatest thing in the world. So I just got covered with dust, but I didn't get covered with rubble.
Right. But our cell phones didn't work.
Yeah.
So now, essentially, the building my dad and the other 8 guys that I've grown up with for the last 27 years, we're in a building that collapsed on top of my husband. Like,
You're thinking, I mean, everybody, everything.
When she hung up the phone with me, she thought that I was walking towards her, closer to the thing, and that her dad and all these people were at the top of the thing, and that's the thing that fell, right? So she was majorly fucked.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get any further south to go get her. So I was then pushed back north. So then she's still south of the tower, and
but he
now
called
I'm
his
back
mom.
north.
He was able to get through to his mother with his
my cell phone.
So then her landline, she called me, and she's like, I just spoke to Michael. He's fine. So I was like,
so like cell phone to cell phone's not working, but landline to cell phone does work.
Because the tower was the needle on our tower was our service. So once that was gone, there was no way.
I'm gonna stop you right now, because when I got pushed back north, I had to go on one of those like piers, you know, whatever, Club Iguanas or something like that, to make a phone call. Do you remember how beautiful it was that day?
Oh, it was like picturesque.
Yeah, there wasn't a cloud in the sky. It was just all blue.
So I think people who will be watching this who were in New York that day, I think you'd all, like, if you just take a second, I think everybody remembers that. Yeah. That was a honey of a day.
Yeah,
9/11
I mean, it's right
gorgeous.
this time of year.
Yeah.
It's still warm, but the fall is coming.
Yeah.
Weather's turning. Sun in the sky.
I'm looking out onto the Hudson River, right? And I'm looking out, and it's gorgeous. And I'm speaking to my, you know, like, you lose yourself for a sec. I was like, wow, this is gorgeous out. And then I turn around
and it's
and the whole fucking thing is
eradicated.
It's falling apart.
Yeah.
It was crazy.